Let's start by creating a sprite. I will name it BG1. Scale it up to cover the entire screen. Duplicate it. And position it next to the first sprite we created. Now create an empty game object. This will be the end position. And another one for the start position. Position the start position the same as the BG2. And position end in the other side. Next, create a script. I will name it scrolling effect. First we need to serialize field transform for both end and start position. Then make a vector2 variable, name it targetPose. Then in the start function we need to assign our target position. In the x-axis we need end position value. And in the y-axis we don't want it to change, so we will just put transform.position.y. Then in the update function, we need an if statement. In the if statement we need to check if our background position is equal to our target position. If it's not equal, then our background needs to move towards the target position. To use move towards we need to specify three things: the current position of our background, the target position, and the speed. In the current position, just put transform.position. Next, the target position that we created. Then the speed. I will create a float variable for this. Also use serialize field, so we can change the value on the editor. Let's check if our code is working. Now our background is moving. The next thing we need is reposition the background once it reached the end position. To do that we will create another vector2 variable. I will name it reposition. In the start function, assign the x-axis of start position to the reposition. Again, we don't want to change the y-axis of our background, that is why we will use transform.position.y. Lastly, if our background reach the end position, we will reposition it, so assign our reposition to our transform.position. Let's check it again. To fix that gap, we either change the order in layer or change the z-axis to a higher value. You might also need to change the position of start, to fix the gap. And there it is, now you have an endless background. Now I will show you an example project. This is a small mobile game that I'm making. I have a background here with 4 game object in it. The first one was the front game object. Under the front game object, I have multiple sprites, each sprite has the scrolling effect script. The second game object is the behind sprites. To make them look like they are behind the other sprite, change the order in layer value less than the other sprites, or change the z-axis to a higher value. To have a parallax effect, assign a slower speed to the sprite that's supposed to be behind the other sprites. For example, the sprite in front has the speed of 5, so the sprite behind should have a speed less than 5. Let's test it now. Thank you for watching. Like if this helps, and subscribe for more.